Today I'm going to show you how to use resource lists in Follett Destiny with some examples specific to the Mahtomedi School District. You will learn what resource lists are, how to create a list, how to add resources to the list, and also how bibliography or citation lists can be generated from these lists. I have already logged into Destiny. Right now I am in what I call the regular or classic view of Destiny, and I'm logged in as a teacher. In order to create a list or select a particular list to be able to add to it, you need to be in this view of Destiny, and I will explain this more at the end of the session. To work with resource lists, you go to the Catalog tab at the top, and from the options on the left-hand side, you're going to pick Resource Lists. When it brings you in, you're going to see the My List view. Right now, I have a default list, which is my personal list here, and this is a non-public list. It's just for my own use. But perhaps I want to create a list of things that I'm going to use professionally. Perhaps I want to create a list of things to use when teaching a specific unit. Maybe things I want to consider for the future. I can create many lists, and another kind of list that I might want to create would be a list that students would come in and use resources from. And I have an example of that kind of list, or several examples of those kind of lists under public lists. Lists, you can choose to have lists be public or non-public or private. Let's look at the 13 colonies. When we started using Destiny in the spring of 09-10, we started playing around with the lists and using them for, most of these lists are for curriculum that is either taught through the Media Center or through classrooms for specific subjects. And students can come in, quickly see library materials in a list, and then they can actually go and find and use these materials, or also online resources. And these online resources came from something called WebPath Express, and I'll show you how you add both the library materials and the online resources to a list here in just a moment. But this list can be changed, it can be added to, can be deleted, and the person who created this list would have the rights to do that. One thing that could be useful for lists is to have grade level teams create lists, and then all of 5th grade would direct their students to use a particular list. As curriculum changes, things can be edited or deleted or added to these lists. So there's a lot of flexibility built in. I'm going to go ahead and go back to resource lists. We're in the My List view. Here you'll see an icon to add a list. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to want to give it a name. I'm going to tailor this one for 3rd grade. And I'll call it 3rd grade animal research. And give it a little description. I can always come in and edit these things later. I need to decide if I want this list to be public or not, and it's going to be used by students, so I definitely want to make it public. Maybe some of the other 3rd grade teachers will want to see it as well, so I want to make it public. So I'm going to go ahead and say save. And now that list is ready for me to add to it. Right now it's an empty list. So to actually find resources to put to it, I'm going to go to the Library Search tab, and since this is animals, I'm going to type in wolves and do a subject search on it. And it immediately pulls up library materials, books that we have on wolves, and I think I'm going to add this book to it, The Gray Wolf, Red Wolf, but I want to make sure before I add anything to a resource list that I always come up here and look at the selected list and make sure that 3rd grade animal research is showing. I could also add, if I had multiple lists, I could add to those other lists. So I want to be sure that I'm getting things in the right spot, or it causes me a headache later on. So let's add Gray Wolf, Red Wolf to this list. And then let's see if there isn't one other one that we could add. Well, let's add this one on Arctic wolves. We'll add that. And actually, I'm looking at it. Looks like, no, we don't have copies of that. I'm thinking second thoughts on that. But this one we do. We'll add this one. Okay, so now if I go back up to the top, I can also add websites, and the websites again are tied to WebPath Express, which is a subscription that we have to websites that have been deemed age appropriate, subject appropriate for our students at our school. We can go to websites, and I could have gone to WebPath and searched, but because I'd already done a library search on wolves, when I clicked on the website tab, it automatically remembered and I didn't have to research that subject. So let's see here. I'm going to add the Wolf Conservation Center to it, so add to this list. And might as well do Arctic Wolf. So we already have a book on that, so we'll add to that list. So I've got 2 library resources and 2 websites, and I want to go back. Let's go back and view that list. So to see it, let's go to Resource Lists. Let's view the 3rd grade animal resource list. And if I decided I didn't want one of these books here, I could definitely remove that right now. And if I want to see the online resources, it does separate it by library materials and online resources. There are the websites I put in. Again, I could remove those as well. So that's how you create a list. And I would want to add more resources to this before it would really be considered done. And then as I go through the unit, my students find other books and things, I could continue to add to it. One last thing to highlight with the resource list is the bibliography and citation list that can be generated. And if I go back to the Library Materials tab and go down to the very bottom, I can choose a citation list, or for library materials, I also have the option of a bibliography, and then you can also sort a certain way. And I'm going to take off the show notes because it's more detailed, and just say go here, and let's take a look at the bibliography.